And welcome to another edition of South Texas Now. This is attorney Joe Flores, also a nurse practitioner, by the way. But I love doing this program, and I want to welcome my audience every Sunday right here on KRIS. And let's not forget my good friends at Lopez Broadcasting, and also now appearing on Crónica. You know that, and love them, hate them, but never ignore them. They're the journalist guy who puts you on, and he tells the truth. Hurts or not, pull off the Band-Aid. But anyway, thanks to them and our sponsors, we're here. But I've got a great guest today. We're going to learn about an area of the law that's harder than Chinese arithmetic, but we're going to simplify it down. And I'm not trying to be condescending when I say that, because, I barely get it, and I, went to 3 years of law school. But this guy is a second least generation lawyer. His dad was a legend, Russell McMains, and I bring on Steve McMains. How you doing, Steve?
Oh, good to see you, man. Appreciate it.
Looking good. One of us is doing CrossFit. Anyway, listen, before we get into the predatory stuff that's been going on in this town and that's been taking advantage of the West Side, especially Flower Bluff, people that don't know better, I just want to learn a little bit and educate people on your education, your training, your background. Just tell them where you're from.
Great. Well, yeah, grew up here in Corpus Christi, went to Ray High School, then went to UT in Austin for undergrad, and then off to SMU for law school. Then came back here, worked with the city, was my first job out of down here as a lawyer, which actually I'll have to, go with some fun, my first
You
trial.
worked for the city? Whoa. You worked for the city? I've known you all these years, and you didn't tell me that?
Well, it's my first job out of law school. It was there. I was only there about 6 months, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I can't say I was there very long.
You're forgiven.
But I probably will boast that I probably have one of the best first trial stories of all time.
Well, can you give us the 2-minute trial story?
I'll try to real quick. Very shortly, at that time, it was back in 2002, they used to have a docket at 5:30 p.m., and so people could, if they wanted to contest their traffic, they could contest their traffic tickets, that kind of deal, after work type deal.
Night court, I love it.
Essentially, yes, exactly. A lot of cities still have this, in terms of that. Mm-hmm. First week, though, they kind of, throw you to the fire in terms of municipal court prosecutors type deal, at least back then. So first week on, I'm doing this 5:30 p.m. docket. Obviously, the new guy gets the late shift type deal. Anyway, we're kind of getting through the docket. We have a gentleman, an older gentleman that had gotten in a wreck with the sheriff. The actual sheriff. At this time, it was Larry
Hickey or Larry Olivares? Oh, my God.
2002. So actual car accident with the sheriff. And so
Larry, I'm sorry, but you're a little hot-headed sometimes. Go ahead.
No. Well, Larry didn't do anything wrong here. I mean,
really?
No. And so this was a pretty simple car wreck deal, and the other gentleman involved was a retired doctor. He's a little bit older. He's in his 80s. And then not only that, but then his son-in-law was a firefighter. And he was with them, and we were trying to get the case resolved, and offered, all the kind of standard deferrals and that kind of stuff.
Sounds like Vietnam.
And they wanted to basically go ahead and go to, the gentleman wanted to, use his rights and go to trial on this deal.
Great.
So we're having a little bench trial in front of Judge Tamez.
An institution.
It was there for a while. And so at any rate, in the middle of the trial, the defender, the doctor, fell back in his chair and actually had a heart attack.
Oh my God!
And so at any rate, so they threw me the keys to go unlock downstairs, because we're the second floor of the police department building.
Trish, give me some Tums. Go ahead.
I run downstairs to unlock it because the firefighters called EMS.
Uh-huh.
I go unlock the door downstairs to let EMS in. They're doing the shock treatment in the courtroom. The gentleman passes away right there in the courtroom.
So who won?
The case was actually dismissed later on.
Oh, man. But that was your first?
First trial, defendant dies on me. I got a lot of, the PD, all the officers gave me, a lot of crap, in the future for getting the death penalty for a Class C misdemeanor.
Exactly. You're responsible.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't.
And then the rest is downhill. We practiced federal law together, and they ate us like lions.
It's a lot easier after that. But that was my first trial ever, was a bench trial where the defendant died.
Well, you've done a boatload of trials. I know that. And you've got federal, you got state experience. what made you become a mediator? This is sort of like, you're like with the UN over here. You're like, people hate each other, whether it's a divorce or a big time multi-million-dollar case. And now you're seeking peace.
Well, back in, I think it was 2018, I went and did the 40-hour mediation course that a lot of the CLE programs and mediation training programs provide.
It's challenging.
And it's a long week, in terms of that, and you learn a lot of different techniques when it comes to mediations. And as you and I know, we're in mediations as lawyers all the time, so you kind of learn different I wouldn't say tricks, but how mediators handle it, and you see different styles of mediators in that regards. But it was something I've always interested in, just because there's so much money that goes into litigating cases and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
One of the things I love doing, and my practice has evolved over time. When I first started practicing and got on my own, I did plenty of criminal work, as you talked about, federal work and various things. And over the years, I've represented a whole lot of small businesses, which I really take pride in and love doing, because I love helping the community grow. And I also love just getting involved in that area a lot, because it's a little more logical in terms of, hey, let's get back to business, let's grow, let's make money.
But you're representing titans too, right? Like
the
construction
sure
guys.
These days too, I've gotten a lot more into real estate and construction. Defense, and I've represented plaintiffs in cases as well too.
And we're going to get into that predatory stuff that you're talking about. This is fresh, this is tight. When we come back from the break, but we got a few minutes before we go to break. Continue, man. You're on a roll.
I think I've been on both sides of a lot of issues, whether it's prosecuting, defending, whether it's been involved in real estate work. I've dabbled in some personal, helping out in some insurance stuff in regards to personal injury type deals.
Yeah.
But I've been, I've not been a plaintiff's lawyer. I've not been just an insurance defense lawyer. I've been on both sides. And so I think one of my strengths in terms of this, besides liking to try to work it out and, get everybody kind of back to, being positive in society, part of it is I just think I have an attitude and a good where I can relate to both sides and hopefully kind of bridge that gap and be a pretty efficient mediator in terms of help people solve problems.
Well, I've come to you, and let me tell you, the parties hate each other, guys, and he's made them come a little bit closer. Sometimes it doesn't settle, sometimes it does, but please think about mediation. Please think about Mr. McMains. Anyway, going back to it, so what are some of the areas that you love in mediation? I mean, you talked about construction, you talked about insurance. What are some of the most exciting areas? I mean, where, it's North Korea meets America, and you separate the people apart, sure. Right? They're in different rooms.
I think I like mediating more business disputes and complicated just because, again, the end goal is usually people that are, there's money and there's a project on the table we're trying to get fixed and that kind of deal. I think I enjoy that the most. I think the most difficult in regards to, and you get this in real estate and some other probate matters, and I don't do a whole lot of mediations with family law, but obviously, you can imagine a lot of cases are referred, basically required to go to mediation with family law. But you get a lot of probate matters, which can be even worse because those aren't even people that were married. Those are family members.
Weren't you just telling me about something about that? And we're not going to, but it's hard even just deciding who's going to take care of mom or make the decisions.
Oh, yeah. So probate matters, and I get involved in some probate cases mainly because a lot of times they become ancillary to real estate. We've got a great lawyer, Tiffany Fader, in our office that we refer a lot of our probate work to.
Tiffany.
But, and so she's been, but I've been involved in a lot of stuff kind of ancillary to it. And so in that regards, probate gets really, but you need to, like you said, separate people, try to focus them on what you can fix more than anything else. And obviously what you're not going to fix is hurt feelings.
And you can't be a jerk to be a mediator, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Look, and we're going to get back into this. Special respect for the lions of mediation like Andrew Lerman, other guys like Don, a lot of guys that do mediation, but you're the young blood. You're the guy coming in. You're the 21st century guy. You're the universal soldier.
I hope I can help out. That's the main thing.
I love the modesty. We got a couple of minutes, but what would you tell people when they say, what the hell is mediation?
Well, mediation and again, to be a mediator, you don't have to be a lawyer, although I do think it really helps out in terms of that. I am a certified mediator from Texas Mitigating Credential, but just to know that any kind of dispute, actually, I had a friend recently that had a dispute with a neighbor, and I've done a couple of things where I've been hired as a lawyer on that, but I've also mediated cases where just you have fence boundary disputes, and instead of having to hire lawyers, you can go to mediation and work out your differences, whether it's a technical legal claim or whether it's maybe some dispute that could turn into a legal claim. So there's a broad area that could come into that mediation could help. Not only that, I mean, I'm sure you've talked about this in the past too. I mean, Nueces County, the Dispute Resolution Center is a great resource for people to go get free mediations prior to filing a lawsuit. And the people over there do a great job in terms of trying to help, disputes, basically for people that can't really afford more of the high-priced, lawyers or mediators. And so that's a great way to resolve certain, kind of disputes before you go file something in JP court.
Jay Riggins, my educator on single malts, he did that for a long time, and he was also with the city. We're going to take a break, but you're watching Stephen McMains, and let me tell you about mediation. Look, before you go to war, sue for peace, okay? Because, if anybody's ever gotten in a fist fight, it feels good to hit the other guy. But when they hit you back and you taste copper and metal in your mouth and you go, man, that didn't feel good, that's a lawsuit, okay? So everybody says, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to sue the pants off you, or I'm going to divorce and take you for everything you have. Think about mediation before we do that. So when we come back, Stephen McMains and the lower third's going to show where his contact information can be. Don't go away. Stay here. Don't go away. Stand by.